What is going on, everyone? I got Brady here with me tonight, and it's good to see everybody again on this Thirsty Thursday. We're coming up on Halloween, and I don't know if you saw the shorts video that I put out earlier today, but Brady and Dom were dressed up as Maverick and Goose from Top Gun. They had a little event at their school this evening for Halloween, and if you didn't catch that little short video I put out earlier today, check it out. They look pretty good, I think.
Yeah, we went to our school for like this event called the Spooktacular, and we weren't gonna stay because like we were kind of bored when we were there, but they were having a costume contest, but it was like maybe 4 something when we left. I don't know what time it was, but the costume contest was at like 6:30. So we didn't stay for that, but one of our best friends won it, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, he was dressed up as Macho Man Randy Savage.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. All right, who is in the chat so far tonight? I know there's 59 of us in here already. So good evening to everyone. There's Ben. How are you doing, my friend? Good to see you made it here early tonight. Johnny's here. Mark Wakeland. Murphy's Mowers. Hello, how are you? And there's my new friend, Ty, man. What's up, buddy? I was glad to meet you at the Paul Bunyan show, and we'll talk about that here in just a little bit in more detail. But the chat's flying by here as usual. Dick's in here from Old Guy Firewood. Larry Hoddle, how are you, my friend? I'm not going to get to everybody, obviously. Daniel Atkins, Bill, Obi's in the house. Good to see you. Cash, 5150 is here. Michael D. I met Michael D as well. How are you, sir? Dave Edwards. All right, we got a good group in here to get us going. Dean's in here, outside in Michigan. How are you doing, sir? Diesel Dad, no, you did not miss it, my friend. You're just in time, actually. We're just getting started here. Just trying to check out who's in the chat and who's all joining us here this evening. Jeffrey, how are you doing, buddy? Brady, Jeffrey said, great job with the wood delivery. You guys rock. Keep up the good work. All right. So I think we're just about caught up. Frickin' Jeep's here. John, how are you, sir? All right. So we got a lot to do here this evening. Got some cool things I want to show you, I think. But for those of you who have never been here before, I just want to remind you that if you got a question for us tonight, just type a Q in front of your question. Capital Q or 2 or 3 of them. That'll kind of help get our attention so we can respond to your question there. And also, if you're new, if it's your first time here, just type new down in the chat so we can welcome you to the stream. And it's always cool to see new people come in here. So we're going to start off like we do every Thirsty Thursday with a cheers to everyone that's here tonight, going to join the chat. And the beverage of choice tonight, appropriately, is Yellowstone bourbon. The reason I picked this choice tonight is because if you watch the Yellowstone on Paramount Network, it's getting ready to start season 5, and we are on Sunday, November 13th. That new season starts, and me and my wife love to watch that show. So I don't know if there's any fans of Yellowstone in the chat here tonight, but we're excited to get that going. I just saw somebody come by that says they're new. Here we go. LUC 917 says they're new. So if everybody in the chat will welcome them, that would be awesome. And cheers to that. That's some good stuff. All right. Cheers, everyone. All right. So talking about Paul Bunyan. I know that this has been a horse that has been beaten for the last couple of weeks between YouTube, all the YouTube channels, because so many of us were there. But it was such a great time, and I got some stuff I want to share with you from that tonight. It's not going to take a whole lot of time, but I do want to share that with you. Question from Joe. How are you doing, Joe? I hope you're feeling okay. I know you're starting to sleep a little better. And I hope your medicine is starting to kick in and help you out. Joe wants to know, will the Ravens and Lamar choke tonight in the 4th quarter versus Tom Brady? What do you think?
Here's what I think is going to happen. So I think the Ravens are going to, first half, I think they're going to score a touchdown and kick a field goal. And I think the Bucs are going to score in the first half. So I think it's going to be 7-10. And then by the second half, I think as usual, everything's just going to go downhill. That's how it always happens.
Yeah, we can't play in the second half, right, bud?
Yeah, our defense.
All right, so Jim Tippett says he's got salted caramel crown in his glass tonight. Sounds good, Jim. I hope you enjoy that. Dirt Road Landing has a question. Bourbon and whiskey, the same thing? Can you explain the difference, please? All right. I'm going to try not to geek out on you here too much, but no, it is not the same thing. All bourbon is whiskey, but not all whiskey is bourbon. And the reason for that is because there's some stipulations on bourbon. Just real quick, bourbon has to be aged in brand new white oak barrels, meaning the barrels have never been used. It has to be aged a minimum of 4 years. If it's less than 4 years, it has to be age stamped, meaning the bourbon has sat in that barrel for a minimum of 4 years. And it has to be made with at least 51% corn in the mash. So a lot of people will add barley to it. They will add, other things to the mash. But the mash bill has to be majority corn to be considered bourbon. So that's a few of the differences. There's some other technical things there, but like I said, I don't want to geek out on y'all. So yes. All right. I just saw a question from Dick here. Why are you bundled up like it's 30 degrees and Brady is in short sleeves? All right. That's a good point, Dick. Brady was just out back before the stream started playing basketball with his buddy Dom. Dom's mom just picked him up. They actually just left here, but they've been out back playing basketball. So they're working up a little bit of a sweat out there. So he may get a little chill here later and may end up wearing some different clothes. All right. Joe Dodge, Firewood from the Sawmill says, cheers, everyone. I'm drinking apple cider from a local place. I've had deliveries all day and all day tomorrow. I'll let y'all have hangovers tomorrow. Well, hopefully nobody hurts themselves here tonight. We like to have a few drinks together and have a good time, but we all know that some of us have learned lessons from these things in the past. There's Deb from the mill. How are you doing, Deb? Good to see. Chuck said hi. He's driving. Hello, Chuck. You keep your eyes on the road there, buddy. There's Mike from K&L, and he says hello. Goodness, 76 of us in here now. All right, Jim has a question, and he says, this is up for debate. Buckin says, if you dig the dogs in, I don't see the next part of that. Buckin says, if you dig the dogs in. Think there's another part to that. Oh my goodness. And here comes a super chat for the first time tonight from our good friend, Don Scheib. And he says, what's up, fellas? It is Thirsty Thursday. Yes, sir. How are you doing, my brother? Good to see you made it in here tonight. Cheers to you. Thank you so much for that, buddy. I appreciate it. All right. We got to go back and see what we missed here. Oh, man. So, talking about the Paul Bunyan Show, I'm going to go ahead and throw this up here on the screen so we can talk about it a little bit. I'll move myself down here. Some of the faces from the Paul Bunyan Show. Now, I will go ahead and tell you right away that I'm horrible at taking pictures. Sometimes I forget to take pictures, even of my kids at sports. I get engrossed in the moment, and I just miss opportunities for pictures. But I did get some, and I want to share those with you now. Sometimes I was in conversations with people, and I either thought it would be rude or just not good timing to ask for a picture. But many of you came up to me, and I came up to many of you to take some pictures. So I just want to run through these here real quick and just make a few comments. Jim's got a question here real quick before we get into it. And he says, to dog or not to dog? I watch Buckin, and he says, if you dig the dogs in, you'll end up with a leaking crankcase. Dig in or just let the chain eat? Well, I'm glad you bring that up, Jim, because that's actually on my list here. It's something I want to talk about here shortly. So we will definitely get back to that. All right, so let's get into here. The first picture I want to show you is a guy that I had never met. This is Nick Pixel. What a great guy he is. So he was kind of, the tour guide / organizer for Buck and Billy Ray at the show in Ohio for the Paul Bunyan show. And the camper was there and he was kind of like setting him up. See, Buckin didn't really know if he was going to be able to make it to the show because of the situation at the border and, with the vaccination requirements and all that. But at the last minute, they did drop those stipulations and he was able to get across. So they didn't really have a whole lot lined up for that. But Nick Pixel definitely made the best of that, and they had a great show. They had a line there the entire time. But Nick Pixel there, he's a great guy. I don't know if he's in here tonight or not, but it was great to meet him. And there's the man himself right there, Buck and Billy Ray. He had a line and a group of people around him the entire time. I mean, a whole group of people. As you can imagine, if you've ever listened to him, give testimony, talk about his life, his story, and just the knowledge and experience that he has when it comes to, felling trees and cutting firewood. You can pretty much learn something from him every time you talk to him. But I didn't really get a chance to talk to him during the day. But that Sunday morning that we went live before the show actually opened, I did bump into him, and he took a few minutes to talk to me. And same guy you see on his channel if you watch Buck and Billy Ray's channel. Hey, we got another super chat here real quick. We will definitely jump over and take care of that. And it's from Outdoors with this guy. Hello, everyone. Going to get back out with the camera this winter. I'm looking forward to it. I miss sharing with you all. Outdoors with this guy. He's going to be coming back on YouTube here soon with some new content. So thank you, sir. I appreciate that. And cheers. So yeah, Buckin was a really cool guy. The next picture that I have here is with Mike Morgan. Same situation with him. Mike Morgan had a booth set up back there by where freaking Jeep was set up, John's booth under the pavilion. And they had some set times where you could wait in line to meet him and Melissa Morgan. And I didn't wait in that line either, but I did bump into him that same morning. I bumped into Buck and Billy Ray, and he was a cool guy too. I explained to him he didn't know who I was, but he was part of the reason for the addiction that we all share in this Firewood community. So it was cool to see him. Another super chat coming in here from Joe's Firewood videos. Joe says, can I get a go blue from Brady for Michigan versus MSU and Penn State versus OSU?
Go blue.
He says, go blue, Joe. So there you go. Cheers, Joe, and thank you, of course. Definitely appreciate that. All right, the next slide here. Oh, gosh, man, we could talk all evening about this crew. So this is the Easton Made crew. These are the guys that came with Andrew Easton and were set up at the Easton Made booth the whole weekend, and they are a riot. These guys work hard all day. I should say guys and girls, because Patty's in there too, and she's a sweetheart. But this crew worked hard all day and, demonstrating the splitters, moving wood, bucking wood, running the processors, running the splitters. And then in the evening, they would come over to the hotel with all of us hanging out in the lobby and just have a great time. I mean, we've got a lot of stories to tell, and it goes from beer to aliens and everything in between. But this is a whole great group of people, and I'm so glad I got to meet them. I cannot wait to hang out with these guys again because it was just a fantastic time. Next slide here is Joe from Ohio Woodburner. As you can imagine, he was hanging out at the Metza Machines tent most of the time around the Yappas, and that's kind of where a lot of us congregated part of the time. And Joe, again, I feel like I'm repeating myself, but the same exact guy that you see on the videos is exactly who he is. He was handing out stickers to everybody and making time to chat with everybody, and it was really cool to meet him. He's a lot taller in person than I thought he was. He's a pretty big guy. So, yep, there's Joe. Larry Cluck, you all know him from Larry Cluck Outdoors. He hung out with us at the hotel as well for the live stream, had breakfast with him in the morning. And hey, there's Ted, Saul Surgeon's in the house. He's just in time because he's coming up here as well. Brett, welcome to the stream. Glad you could make it as well. Brett McKinley there. And yeah, so it was cool to meet Larry Cluck and his wife were there. So very cool. Larry and Robin Hoddle, same exact people you would think. It was funny because all the YouTube channels were there walking around, trying to get some content, take some footage from the show for our channels. And I was actually recording and bumped into Larry and Robin while they were recording. So we were like taking video of each other, which was pretty funny. But I didn't meet anybody at the show that I got a bad vibe from. Every single person was so nice, so welcoming, and so just all great people. Not one person did I get a bad vibe from. So it was really, really cool. Larry and Robin, thank you for your friendship. Here we go with Shifty from Back 40. You got Matt there from Firewood on the Hill, and his wife was there with him as well. She didn't get in the picture. I don't know where she was at this point. And then you got Mike there from KNL Firewood. I know he's in the chat here tonight. So another great group of guys to hang out with and meet personally. And very, very cool. And there he is right there. He was just in time to the stream. And there's Ted, the Saul Surgeon himself. This is a guy that I feel like no matter where you see him or sit down with him, how short or long you have a conversation with this guy, you're probably going to learn something. He is a huge wealth of knowledge, a calm, cool, laid back guy. And, I kind of wish I was that way a little more. I don't think he probably gets excited about a whole lot. And, it was really cool to meet him. We actually walked around the show the very first day with him on that outer ring. Shifty and I and him kind of took in the first sights together. And there is Deb from Iron and Oak Sawmill. As you know, I met her and Chuck up at their place a couple months back when we went up and ran the mill and cut some firewood with Darren from Woodruff Woods and Shibe. Of course, Chuck was there as well, but ladies first, right? And Saul Surgeon, no, I'm not making you blush. I really appreciate the kindness and the friendship. That's the main reason why I had such a great time, just because of the people. But there's Deb, and it was cool to hang out with her again. She's wearing her Joe's Premium Firewood shirt. She was actually sitting in the lobby of the hotel while we were all mingling, watching Joe's Premium Firewood videos. So that was pretty neat to see. She's a great fan of Joe there. And there's her hubby, Chuck. And Chuck, when it comes to sawmills, he knows his stuff. He was eyeing up a new sawmill there. I guess the next one, I think it's the next one up from the one he has. And, he's definitely got the wheels turning on that. He was looking at it pretty seriously. And I see you're here, Chuck. I'm glad you're here, buddy. Just in time. Thank you for your friendship. And there is Andrew from Easton Made Log Splitters. He is the reason for that whole crew that was there and brought all of them there so that we all had such a great time. He pretty much brought the party with him. Aside from Shibe, of course. Shibe always brings a party with him. But it was cool to meet Andrew, and he's a happy-go-lucky guy, a very gracious, humble man. So it was cool to meet him. Ken Carlson. Now you know him from Chris's In the Woodyard. That's Chris's brother. And he was running around with a bunch of beaver hats in a box selling beaver hats. And if you watch the Friday night live stream, it was late in the night and we all had a few drinks and so people were wearing those hats. Hey, super chat here real quick. Let me bump in here and say thank you to Senior Firewood Homestead Larry Hoddle. Thank you, sir. Paul Bunyan was a blast. Thanks, my friend. Yes, sir, it was. And I hope that everybody that was there this year can make it again next year, along with anyone who was not able to make it, because I think that we can, definitely have a better time if we have more people there to meet. Cheers, my friend. So yeah, Ken was there with the beaver hats and kind of got us going there, and he's a cool guy as well. And there's Chris right there. He's got the beaver hat on. And I wore one of those things for a few minutes. And I tell you what, I'll tell you the good and the bad about those beaver hats. They are very, very warm. It's probably the warmest hat that I have ever worn on my head. I only had it on for about 30 seconds and I was ready to take it off. But the bad part about it is that they are not pretty. They are not very stylish or very good looking hats at all. It's kind of like riding a moped. It's fun to do as long as nobody sees you, right? But no, Chris was cool, and you can see it right there in the picture. That's exactly who he was. Happy-go-lucky and having a great time just like everybody else was. Hey, Chuck says, Ben, Deb kind of liked the bourbon, just doesn't like a lot of it. Yeah, so when we passed that bourbon out on the Friday night live stream, Deb was kind of shocked, I think. She did not expect the bite that it had, but there was a lot of positivity and compliments on the bourbon as well. So that was a fun time. There's Jake from Dude Ranch DIY. I don't know if they're in here tonight, but Jake made the drive out there, and it was great to meet him. Not only him, but Chris was there also. So Jake and Chris joined us. We got to hang out with them a good bit at the show and at the hotel. And it was really, really cool to meet those two guys as well. So these are all YouTube channels, and I got their names up there. Dude Ranch DIY, Chris in the Woodyard, Iron and Oak Sawmill. I'm going to forget some, but if you don't know those channels, check those guys out. They put out really good stuff, and we can all learn from each other and get ideas from each other as well. There's Tony from Tony's Cool Tools. He is the reason for the craze over the Amish Firewood bundler. He's the one that found it first, I believe, as far as YouTube goes. He revealed it on Chris's In the Woodyard channel and got a lot of us to purchase it. So there's Tony's Cool Tools. He shows you a lot of neat stuff that you might not see on other firewood channels. But, it was really, really cool to hang out with him as well. Oh, my goodness. What did you just do, WD-30? Holy cow. Thank you so much. WD-30 in the house. Brad, thank you for showing the boys what it means to pay it forward. This is a thank you for that. Not enough of it going around nowadays, so thank you. Will, my friend, thank you so much, and you're one of the guys that I really want to meet. I hope that we can meet each other next year at the Paul Bunyan Show or some other time, some way. You're a great supporter of a lot of us on this YouTube thing, and I thank you so much for that. I really, really appreciate it. This all goes back into the channel and all goes back into the giveaways and all that kind of stuff to help make this a more fun experience for everybody. So thank you so much for that, my friend. Cheers. All right. So, oh my gosh, Dick from Old Guy Firewood. So if you were there on the Friday night live stream from the hotel that night on the Back 40 Firewood channel, then you know that we gave him a big push. He was trying to get to 1,000 subscribers, and he has since made it there. This guy, I forget how old he said he is, 70, I don't even want to say, but he's in his 70s, and he works like a 35 or 40-year-old, I would say, and is just a great dude. He puts content out all the time. He's a natural at it right from the beginning. I told him he would be successful, and as of right now, he just needs watch time. So he can get that channel monetized and kind of get some reward for the effort that he's putting into his channel. So if you haven't checked out or you are subscribed to Old Guy Firewood, run over there and just give him some watch time. Click on some of his videos and check out what he's doing. And I think that would help him out a lot because he's a great, great dude. And there's the man himself, Dan, or Shifty, as we like to call him, from his boxing days. But I got a funny story about this because Dan is probably the very, very first person that I ever watched on YouTube when I got interested in this firewood thing. So I've been watching him the longest. I'm always on the Friday night live streams that he does every single week. And when I walked into the hotel on Friday afternoon, him and Shibe were sitting at the table in the lobby there. And when I walked in, I just pulled up a chair and sat down and started talking to these guys like I had known them my whole life. And it's so weird because in no other part of my life, no other walk of my life have I, even through the fire department, through the police work, through friendships in school, have I ever been in a situation where I felt like I knew somebody before I ever met them. And this community is just like that. I walked in, pulled up a chair, and we picked up just like old friends, like we had already known each other, just hadn't seen each other in a while. So that was pretty neat. Like I said, it was just a great time. Here's Shibe. Everybody knows Shibe, and he kept me and everybody up late both nights we were there. And life of the party, absolute life of the party. And so I'll tell you a funny story. Saturday, I was planning on going home Saturday night to watch Taylor play ball on Sunday. What ended up not happening, I ended up staying another night in their room, and Shifty and I went to bed. I guess he went up around 10 and I went up around 11, and we're sleeping, and Shive walks in the room about 3 a.m. and I hear him coming in the door, and I hear, "Brad, hey, Brad, wake up, Brad." So I roll over. I'm like, "What's up, man?" He's like, "You thirsty?" And he cracks a beer. And I was like, "Oh my gosh, it's 3 a.m. Are you serious? You just woke me up to ask me if I was thirsty." But, that's just another memory that we're going to have from that time. And we didn't get a whole lot of good sleep that weekend, but man, we had a great time. So Shive is man, he's one of my favorites. He's a great guy. He lives close by, so we get to see each other pretty often, as much as we want to. And we're going to be talking about this East Coast Firewood Frenzy thing coming up, and it's going to be it's cool to hang out with him. So I got one picture left, and this is last but certainly not least. And this is my buddy Ben Scholes. And I know he's in the chat right now. And Ben is just an all-around awesome guy. So you know that he's the one that gifted the 500 ISOL to me. And he came to the hotel just to meet up with me, to gift the saw to me, and kind of say hello and get to know each other. I don't think he really had plans to stay for the live stream. But after talking to him, and I'm hoping that I kind of convinced him to stay. I think he wanted to stay. He just wasn't sure. But he ended up staying for the live stream and got to meet all of you people, a lot of you people in this chat right now, some of you that aren't in the chat, but a lot of people from this community. And I'm hopeful, fingers crossed, I'm pretty sure he had a fantastic time. And if he had a fantastic time, that's all that I could ask for and give back to him. Oh, there he is. Look, there's Dan right there. Did I say boxing? I meant fake wrestling. Oh, did I say fake wrestling? I meant wrestling. Dan, now that you're here, I got something I want to show you. It's the Halloween edition. And you had brought this up. So I got this just for you. I hope I'm in the camera here. But I don't even know who this guy Gandalf is that you're always talking to me about. But I got this just for you. So let me know what you think about this. Is this a good look or no? So anyway, Ben, I hope you had a great time that weekend, and I hope you can come back with us again. So that was really, really cool. All right, so we are back. I don't know if I should keep this thing on or take it off. I don't think it's a good look for me. All right, let's try to catch up here with the chat. Will's here. He said he's popping in and out because his buddies are playing softball. All right, Colleen's here. Colleen's Farm Adventures. How are you? And here's a question from Andy. How many hours of watch time do you need for YouTube? So it's 1,000 subscribers or 4,000 hours of watch time within a year. So that's what Dick is working towards over there at Old Guy Firewood. So if he can get to that point, that would help him out a lot. All right, so I'm a little behind the chat. Shifty was a wrestler. Yes, I hope I corrected myself there. I didn't even realize I said boxing. So where are we at? I'm trying to catch up on the chat here to make sure I didn't miss any questions. But yeah, Paul Bunyan was an absolute great time. Gandalf. Yep, that's what he says. Michael D said he enjoyed talking to Ben. Yeah, Michael D was another guy that I met there at the hotel. We hung out a good bit, had dinner together. Enjoyed the live stream together, drank together. Great time, great time. Back 40 says, wow. I did that just for you, buddy. Deb says, it looks good. Great hat. Ted says, I'm rocking the hat. I'm not so sure about that. Cowboy Joe and the Rough Cuts. I don't think I've ever seen you in the live stream here before, my friend. Welcome to the live stream. He said he's glad to catch up. Will I be going to Paul Bunyan again? Absolutely, 100%. Without a doubt, I will make that happen. I had such a great time, not only for the equipment and the show, but for the people. So I will definitely be there. Jeff says he can't wait for Boonville, New York, the Woodsman Show. Yeah, I have that brochure here somewhere. It was on my desk here somewhere, but I'm definitely looking forward to that. By next year, I might, if this continues to grow, they actually have a beard contest. So maybe you all can talk me into getting into the beard contest there, Jeffrey. I don't know. We'll see. Some of those guys have pretty epic beards, probably not even comparable. All right. Hey, there's Darren. Woodruff Woods is here. Glad to see you made it, my friend. Jared Reynolds. Love the coin collection in the back. Wow. So, yeah, those coins in the middle and towards the state police seal, those are all state police coins and allied agency coins from my job before I retired. A lot of us did hand-to-hand coin exchange. And when I was in the motorcycle unit, we got to work with a lot of other agencies, obviously doing larger scale escorts for dignitaries and stuff. So that was kind of a thing where you would exchange challenge coins from each of the units. The other case over here on this side is all fire department coins, coins that I've exchanged through the fire department. I don't think the fire companies are that as big into the challenge coins as the police department and the military are. But I try to only collect the ones that I get personally or know somebody personally. So thanks for pointing that out.
I think I'm gonna hop off.
All right, Brady's heading in. Don't you have something you want to ask him?
Yes. So me and my friend, you guys probably all know Dom, most of you. So we actually started a YouTube channel like a couple weeks ago. We're making like funny sports videos and stuff. And right now we're at like 63 subscribers. And so if you look up our channel name, it's called B&D Sports. Here, do you think you could link it in the chat?
I'll just type it into the chat here so everybody can see it.
Okay. So it's like
it's spelled out, right? B and D.
No, it's like
the and symbol.
Yeah. So like if you look it up, it might not come up like immediately. So this might be a lot for you guys. So it's like if you look at the top right corner of your YouTube, after you search it up, it should say, if you click on that, it'll say search filters, and if you click on that, go to channels. And
so the easiest way to do it is look up B&D Sports, and his icon is a picture of a white van.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
So they're just making like little short videos of, you know, parodies of sport things that go on in sports, baseball, football, basketball, stuff like that. They're at 63 subscribers, and he said if we could get to 70 tonight, that would be cool. So if anybody wants to go give him a little love, they can do that.
Thanks, guys.
All right, have a good night, buddy.
Good night, guys.
All right, so where were we in this chat? Ben says, cheers to all my new friends, and thanks for letting me tag along. Yes, sir. You're definitely part of the crew now, Ben. We're expecting you to be back next year. Johnny says, how's the bundler going so far? It is going absolutely excellent. No problems with it whatsoever. I did tighten up the nut a little more for the tension for the wrap. You know, I'm putting the handles on now as well, so things are going very well there. I'm happy that I purchased that. No regrets there at all. Old guy says he'll be checking Brady out, so that's cool. Dan just posted a link. I don't know if that's for Brady's channel or not, but if it is, thank you, Dan, for that. Mr. Scuba. So this is going to be something cool that you're going to get to see coming up in the spring, hopefully. I talked to him a little bit a couple weeks ago, and he says, I noticed that you have a state of Maine plate and registration on your dump trailer. What is the benefit of that? So I get this question a lot, and it's kind of like a loophole in the law. So in Maryland, the law says that you can legally have registration in the state of Maine for a trailer as long as you have a trailer registered in Maryland for every power unit that you have. So say you've got 3 trucks and 5 trailers, 3 of those trailers have to be registered in Maryland. The other 2 you can register in Maine. So the advantage of that is it's much, much cheaper to register the trailer because you don't have to pay Maryland sales tax, and the registration fees in Maine are much cheaper than it is in Maryland. So I have my truck is the power unit. I've got my boat trailer that's registered in Maine, and my boat trailer is registered in Maryland, and my camper is registered in Maryland. So I can legally have a trailer registered in Maine, and that's the reason for that. So I hope that kind of clears that up. So yeah, if you haven't checked into that and you have high registration fees in your home state, check in to see if that loophole can work for you and save you some money. Bob Hannon says that he's from upstate New York, and it would be great to meet you next year in Boonesville. Bring Shibe if you can handle another weekend with him. Bob, I plan on coming to that as well. That sounds like it's a great show. More firewood geared. The Paul Bunyan show is kind of everything: logging, arborist, firewood, the whole 9 yards, small equipment all the way up to big equipment. I understand that Booneville is more firewood related, so I would like to check that out also. So yeah, hopefully we can meet up there as well. David Edwards said he just subscribed, so that's pretty cool. Oh man, they're going to be flipping out tonight at you all helping them up. Even if, hey, he's already gone now. Even if you don't watch his videos, it'll pump them up to see the subscribers on the channel. Hey, check it out. There he is right there. I don't know if he's just getting in or not, but Nick Pixel with a super chat. Many blessings to all. I was talking about you earlier, my friend, and even threw a picture up of us standing together at the Paul Bunyan show. If you missed that, you can watch the replay and go back and see all the pictures that I threw up on the screen tonight from the show. It was great to meet you. I think it's awesome what you do. And, I was talking about how you were helping Bucking out at the show. And I'm sure next year will be a much bigger event now that we know he can get through the border. So I'm glad you made it here, Nick. I hope you can hang out. If not, thanks so much for stopping by. Cheers. Andy says in Wisconsin, they don't register their trailers under 2,500 pounds. So just tell your cops you're borrowing my trailer, folks. Yeah. So some states do have that. If it's a light, small trailer, you don't have to register it. I saw a John Deere skidder at Paul Bunyan for $275,000. Everything's expensive right now. I mean, everything is just out of this world. Hey, here's another super chat again from our buddy Will Davidson, WD30. Let's blow up Brady's channel. You guys he's going to be over the moon tonight for you guys hooking him up. Like I said, even if you don't watch the videos, they're kids and they're making fun of some sports people and showing highlights of the sports, but they're having fun doing it, and it's harmless. And if he's trying to kind of do what his dad's doing, I'm all for that, and I will help him any way I can. Log Hauler says, "What's up, Brad? How are you doing, sir? Good to see you here tonight." All right, we got some other stuff to get to here. I'm just about caught up. Johnny wants to know, what was the most impressive equipment or tool that you saw at the show? So that's a tough question because there was so much stuff there, but I got to be honest with you. The thing that I was mesmerized by the most was those huge, they're not even chippers. They're more like tree grinders. I mean, they were putting huge stuff. I'm talking 30, 40-inch trees into the back of these grinders, and it was just like a tidal wave coming off the end of the belt, just demolishing these trees in seconds. So that was pretty impressive to watch. I have seen some big chippers work before, and the size stuff that they can put through them. And people complain that tree services, chip up a lot of firewood. Well, I'm telling you what, these grinders are chipping up saw logs like good lumber. I mean, it was crazy the amount of stuff that they were able to put through there. Joe Dodge Firewood from the sawmill. Question: how much faster is your new bundler compared to your old one? Well, my old one, as you know, was just a homemade wooden 2x4 deal, and it is way faster because you just turn the handle to wrap. You're not bent over and trying to, grab the bottom and switch it from one hand to another on the top and then again on the bottom. In the wintertime, it gets a little more difficult because you've got heavier gloves on. But I tell you, that thing worked really, really well for what it had to do for the time that I had it. And if you need something to bundle firewood and you're just getting started, or you don't have it in the budget yet to purchase one, definitely build one of those, because it works. It really does work well. It does exactly what you need to do. It doesn't look any less attractive. It's not any less quality. But if you're just starting out, do that first. Reinvest your money after you make it to buy the bundler. Chris says it all the time on his channel. You don't want to go into debt doing this. Make a little money and spend a little money, reinvest it. But that homemade bundler, like I said, I'm not getting rid of it. It's still at the yard, and I still use it to bundle my kindling. I give away a bundle of kindling with every order of a cord or more of firewood. So I just leave that sitting down there by my kindling bin, and I still use it to bundle my kindling. Chuck wants to know, am I sold out of firewood yet? Sales are finally happening around here. Yes, I am sold out of firewood. Everything for this year, a little over 41 cord of firewood is spoken for. There's still about 5 or 6 cord of wood in my yard that is ordered, but it's just not been delivered yet. A couple people I've already delivered 1 or 2 loads to, and they're just waiting to get their next loads. Another guy ordered 2 cords of wood, and he's out of the state right now, so he's waiting to get home before I deliver that. But yes, everything is gone. Diesel Dad says that his dad hauls mulch from the 95 project, and he says the amount of logs that they chip is nuts. Yep. So I see the 95 project going on down there around just north of Baltimore, and they're widening the highway and making room for more lanes. And I don't know if they're hauling logs out or not, but they're definitely grinding a bunch of them up. Craig Wilson's here. Good to see you, Craig. I didn't see you earlier in the chat. I'm not sure how long you've been here, but glad you made it. Peter, I'll gladly trade you some cash for the go-kart so you don't need to dismantle it for the engine that might be too small. Yeah, so I don't think I'm going to be using the motor on the go-kart now. The kids are too big for it. So I'm going to have to do something with that, make some room in the shed soon. But I think I'm looking to go the electric motor way with the conveyor now. If you don't know what he's talking about, I was thinking about using the go-kart engine for my newly acquired conveyor, farm conveyor. But that motor's not going to work. So I think I'm going to go electric and put a couple pulleys on that gear reduction box to the motor so that I can run a belt in between. That way, if the chain on the paddles gets bound up, the belt will slip and not break the chain. So that's a new plan, but I haven't even had time to get to that point yet. But that's coming here soon. Brad and JPF, you should see the bundle grade boiler ash I'm hacking up. Bundle grade boiler ash. Joe might not like that if it's bundle grade. All right. Savage Firewood is here. Good evening, Brad, and to all the other wood cutting and splitting fanatics. Brad here. All right. Glad you made it. John, friggin' Jeep, he got his conveyor home today. But hey, real quick, I want to jump over and talk to you about something else that is coming to the channel. And I don't like to give shameless self-promotions here, but I do have some new merch that I just put up, and I kind of took a page out of Shibe's book here. But I thought that it would be cool to have a Thirsty Thursday shirt. So without further ado, here it is. This is the new Thirsty Thursday shirt. Like I said, I took a page out of Shibe's book here, and put a picture of myself on there, but of course we've got the eagle above, and giving a shout out to all the people who enjoy the Thirsty Thursday live stream once a month. And so that's on Bonfire. And the front of the shirt is kind of the same as the regular Firewood. The front of the shirt just got the normal logo on it. But the back is I think it's pretty neat. I don't know if you all will or not, but I figured I'd throw it up there. And if anybody is interested in finding out where that shirt is, I'll put it at the bottom of the screen here. And yeah, pretty cool. I already ordered mine. We'll see how it goes. But the 500i. So everybody knows that the 500i is the latest, greatest thing going on here with me and the channel. And I've been experimenting with this 32-inch bar, and you're going to see it coming next week on a video, but I think that I'm going to like the longer bar. We all watch Buckin all the time, and he preaches the longer bar, but you know, there's some pros and cons to it. And I think you kind of got to retrain your body and the way that you're cutting to do it. You got to kind of learn how to get the feel of the tip of the bar rather than digging the dogs in. So somebody was mentioning earlier about digging the dogs in and causing your crankcase to leak. I'm not sure if that's real or not, but if Buckin says it's true, he must have some kind of knowledge or experience regarding that. But I've been really, really trying to make myself use this 32-inch bar, and I think I'm starting to like it. I really do. But I'm going to talk more about that in this week's upcoming video. And yeah, so you'll get to see that coming up. But anyway, I also wanted to show you this. And if you don't know what this is an Egan straight shot muffler. Now, Shibe has the bark box on his 500i, and I ran his saw a couple times. I ran it when he came down here to my yard, and I also ran his 500 up at Chuck and Deb's. And I will tell you, I know he files his rakers down a little aggressively, and that thing likes to eat hard. But I feel like that saw ran a little bit better than the other 500s that I've ran, and now the one I have. Now the 500i's run awesome, but Shives with that bark box on it and the rakers filed down just a little bit, maybe too much, was a joy to run. So I've done some research, and this Egan muffler has a replaceable spark arrestor on it now. They just made that change to their design. But I think I'm thinking about putting that on there. I don't know what that does with the warranty or what that does, as far as that goes. I know the saw will adjust itself, but I kind of want to wait a little while until the saw gets good and broke in. I mean, I've got a lot of fuel through it already. I've got probably 10 or 12 tanks of fuel through it now. But let me know what you think about that. How long should I wait to put that there? Hey, there's Shy. Put the link up for the shirts. Thank you, buddy. I don't know if like I said, I don't know if anybody's going to be interested in that, but there it is. So Brett McKinley says he loves his bark box on his 462. Daniel Atkins says when he got the 32-inch bar, it was a little intimidating at first, but you definitely get used to it. Yeah, I feel like I'm starting to do that. One thing that I have to learn how to do is when you're standing up and bucking, you're cutting with the tip of the bar, and you have to know where the end of that bar is. You have to be able to feel that, kind of finesse and feel when that tip comes through the backside of the log that you're cutting, so you don't get into the dirt. And I feel like I'm starting to get the feel for that. So yeah, we're going to be talking about that in a lot more detail coming up on next week's video. But Brad, have you looked into the Jason Egan air filter kit? Yes, I have. I actually have it in my cart. I just haven't ordered it yet because I know these 500s have a little bit of a problem with getting some small particles in behind the screw cap for the cover that goes over the air filter. And he's kind of solved that problem from the research and reviews that I've read. So I think I'm going to be getting that as well. Thanks for that. I forgot to talk about that. And look who it is. Bill Irwin. Sorry I'm late. Crazy night. Hello to everyone. Bill's another great guy that I got to meet in Ohio. Bill, we were talking about Ohio earlier and all the people there. I threw some pictures up on the screen of some people that I met. Bill's a great guy. I hope he comes back again next year and brings a couple extra beverages with him. Peyton's Firewood's got a question. Hello, Peyton's Firewood. What podcast do you listen to other than the Woodhounds? To be honest with you, this Firewood community is pretty much all I watch and listen to. I have watched some arborist channels and some logging channels, but the Firewood community is so large now that I have a difficult time trying to keep up with everybody. I try to catch people's videos when I have free time and try to see what's going on. For instance, today I was watching Shibe. He's back into roadside logging again, and he was over at his handler's house splitting some wood, and they had a round explode on him and kind of hurt. Nobody got seriously hurt, but you'll have to check his video out. I don't want to give it all away. Go check out that video, and you can see a round explode on the Rugged Made splitter. Joe Gilbert says there's a 32-inch bar have a bigger chain tooth. Does a 32-inch bar have a bigger chain tooth? It's still 050 gauge and 3/8 chain. So I can use the same file. This is my favorite way of sharpening the chains right here. The 2-in-1 sharpener has been my go-to now. I used to have a bench grinder actually on this bench that the computer's sitting on right now, and I have disposed of that. Not thrown it away, but it's no longer on the bench. I'm not using it. I've tried hand filing, which I'm okay at. I've tried the bench grinder. I've tried the Dremel tool bits, which are okay in a pinch. I think that gives you an okay edge, but not that 2-in-1 sharpener for me. And everybody's different. You got to get used to what you like. Of a 2-in-1 sharpener is my go-to now. Chris says he got his glass. Glad you got that, my friend. I hope everybody that was expecting a package in the mail from me should have received it by now, because everything went out in the past 7 to 10 days that I had waiting in the wings. Here's a good question. Northeast Firewood wants to know who likes the 661 over the 500i. Maybe we can spark up a little debate here. So I just have the clone 660, so I can't really speak on this topic intelligently. But I think right off the top of my head, I know that the 500i is substantially lighter than the 661. Power-wise, I can't speak. So maybe some people in here can tell you what they think. Ben, good to know you ran all that fuel on it. Means you're using it. Yes, sir. I am using it, and I'm loving every minute of it. Yep. So Chuck says the 661's much heavier. Yep. I knew that right off the bat. Back 40 Firewood's in here with a super chat. Can we get a ring for him? Can we get a dragon's call? FYI, it's one of Merlin's famous spells. Well, I'm sorry to disappoint you, Dan, but I have no idea what that means. I don't watch, what is it, Lord of the Rings? Is that where it's from? But Brady was telling me the other day something he says, something about you cannot pass, or I don't remember what he said. But if you tell me what the dragon's call is, I'll do it for you, buddy. I don't know what it means, but I'll do it for you. Back-to-back super chats here. This one comes from Woodruff Woods. Good night, all. 4 a.m. to get a flight will come too soon. Well, Shifty and Darren, thank you both for the super chats. I greatly appreciate it. Darren, are you still in Florida, or are you home again and going back out again? Because like you said the other day, you're getting ready you might as well take up residence in Florida as much as you've been there. Cheers. If you don't know Darren, man, he does a lot of traveling and still does the YouTube thing as well. But I don't know if he's still down in Florida or not. Anyway, Darren, good night. Get some rest. I hope you have a good day on a trip. Arthur Elks, if you sold 41 cords already, it might be best to have 60 plus cords of wood ready for winter. Yeah, I totally agree. I think 60 is probably even light because I've told so many people no already. It's very problematic and disappointing for me to have to tell people no when they're asking for firewood. But I feel like whatever I make, I can sell, and this is supposed to be a fun thing for me. And I don't want to make it work, but I do want to try to make more wood for next year. So 41 this year. I kind of set a goal for myself of 50 next year. If I can get more than 50, I'm going to go for that as well. All right. Getting caught up here. Frickin' Jeep says 32-inch bar means more teeth to sharpen. Cost is more. This old guy likes to use the shortest bar I can. Yeah, so it's kind of preference for everybody, and I've always used the 20-inch bar. 20 inch is kind of like a good middle of the road bar, I feel like. It's not too short, not too long. You can pretty much do everything that I do with a 20-inch bar. But like I said, I'm going to try it out this longer bar. Famous Master 2000, good channel, first time here, quite enjoying it. Well, welcome to the channel, and we will raise a glass to you, my friend, since it's your first time here. I'm glad you're enjoying it and hope you can come back. We're here on the last Thursday of every month, chatting with everybody and having a few drinks. So everybody, welcome. Who else is here? Woodridge Creek Homestead is saying hello to everybody. He's jumping in here. Glad you could make it. Shive says he's never ran a 661, and Rolando has a question. So I will be looking for your question, Rolando. Put some Q's in front of it again when you type it. Tim Thompson said he got his glass, and we are giving away. We do give away a whiskey glass every single month on the live stream. We do a trivia question based on the videos that have come out within the past month. You get a custom Firewood at the Furnace engraved whiskey glass, or you now have, starting this month, a choice of choosing the Firewood at the Furnace beer mug instead. So whiskey glass or a beer mug now. So whoever wins tonight's prize will get to choose. Dirt Road Landing says he's a Husky guy. Well, hey, whatever you run, you run. The 500i is only bad when you're paying $125 an hour having it worked on. So that must be another Husky guy. So it's always fun to kind of bicker back and forth between the Steel guys and the Husky guys. Donald Slate, he wants to know about the timber carriers. Yes, sir. I hope you got your package in the mail as well. The timber carriers will be making their debut here soon because I got that cherry log that I need to go get from the delivery we had a few weeks back. And I feel like that's going to be an awesome time to use it. I have been using the smaller ones in the wood yard, picking up rounds. They work very well. They are very sharp, so you got to be careful with them. But I'm looking forward to using the large timber carriers. And I promise, Donald, you're going to see that coming up here soon. Jared Reynolds says he put a 25-inch bar on his 661. Lots of power, but his arms get wore out pretty quick. Yeah, it's pretty heavy. When I built that 660 clone saw, that's something that I learned very quickly as well. You can rip through some wood, and they will eat it quickly, but you wear out quickly. Kind of why I fell in love with the 261 when I bought it, because I felt like I could run that thing all day because it's so light. But, you sacrifice a little bit of power. And I feel like that's why the 500i is so popular, because it's that really good balance between weight and power. You get a lot of power with a pretty decent lightweight saw. Not as light as the 261, of course, but definitely not as heavy as the 661. 661 will shine when running the long bar, bucking big rounds. That's where the torque does her tricks, and that's coming from Saw Surgeon, who knows a thing or two. I still haven't seen Rolando's question. I don't know if that was for me or somebody else. But here's Arthur with another question. Dry kiln may be something to look into. Yeah, I don't know what they cost or how much space they take up, but yeah, I just don't know. I don't know what direction I'm going. I'm kind of taking this thing as it comes, and if I can get to 50 cord by Easter, I think I'll be in pretty good shape. Because after Easter, I kind of concentrate on really working through some ash because it'll still be ready by the fall. And yeah, 50 cord, I think, is probably where I'm at based on the equipment that I have right now, the time that I can devote, and what my equipment is capable of as far as the splitter goes. That Ram splitter is it's a pretty good upgrade compared to the county line that I had with the adjustable four-way wedge and the log lift. But its cycle time is pretty slow. Um, but using that with the time that I have, I feel like if I can get to 50 full cords a year, that's a pretty goal for myself. KNL says he wants a beer mug. Well, they are for sale, my friend. If you don't win one or don't want to wait to try to win one, send me an email. My email is firewood@thefurnace@gmail.com, and I can certainly hook you up with a beer glass. We got a question here. Where did it go? I just saw it. Oh, Shive's posting. What direction is best for stacking firewood? I've always heard that it's east and west because the sun rises in the east and sets in the west. But I think you should take wind direction into consideration. If you've got wind that blows a certain way through your yard all the time, I'm not so sure that wind is not a better option than sun. We all know that sun, wind, and time are what it takes to season and dry firewood. But sun and wind are the two main things. Jeff Y says he's hoping to get 75 cords by Easter. He's got 2 cords finished now. Yep. Well, I think I've got 2 or 3 cords already stacked now, and I've got 4 or 5 cords that are bucked up and ready to be split. So I'm going to be getting on that here real soon. Michael D says that a kiln uses energy. The sun is free. Yep. Sun is free. Kiln's a little quicker, obviously. Hey, Jeremy Funk. He's got those oak and maple logs ready for me when you're free. I was just driving down the road past your place the other day, Jeremy, taking my boy to ball practice down there at that field past your house there. And I looked over and I didn't see any of the trees down. So I'm not sure where they were. Maybe I just couldn't see them from the road. But I will get up with you here soon because deliveries are winding down. I've only got a few left to do. And I will bring the skid loader up and load them logs up and get them out of your way, my friend. So I'll be getting a hold of you soon. Here's a question from Andy. Has anyone tried making a solar kiln for firewood? Solar and electric, that's what it's all about nowadays, it seems like. But I haven't heard of anybody doing a solar kiln yet. Cody Bird, welcome. Question, do you keep track of all your costs? Yes, I try to. Sometimes it's difficult because there's so many variables and so many things that go into it. Fuel prices change constantly. Oil prices change constantly. Running my truck to pick up wood from the tree service, it's kind of hard to keep track if you're trying to do it by cord. Like when I sell a cord, it's hard for me to track where that exact wood had come from the whole way. But I do keep a rough estimate. And right now, I think I'm based on time and materials and overhead cost. I make like $25 to $28 an hour, I think, based on my time and what it costs me. So it's not great, but it's okay. It's a good hobby to have, a little extra fun money on the side, or helps pay for the kids' ball. And they're both in travel ball, so you can imagine that's not cheap. So a little bit of extra side cash is nice to have. Woodridge Creek Homestead says a solar kiln is going to be his winter project. So maybe there's the guy right there that we can count on to give us some insight on that. And a solar kiln is like a greenhouse. Okay, so does it not use any electric or fuel? Is it just a structure with plastic over it that the sun heats up? I don't really know. Michael D's asking as well. Can someone explain a solar kiln? So who was it back there that said it's their winter project? Woodridge Creek Homestead. Maybe he can report back to us. Okay, there you go. Dan just explained it to everybody. It's a kiln that's solar. All right. Solar kilns are pretty common on YouTube. I haven't seen one specifically for drying firewood, but he is interested, and that's Mike there at K&L. We still got 111 people in here. We are into overtime, so cheers to that. I need to refill. Refill the Yellowstone. Rolando has a question. Here we go. If you have rounds made up and ready to split, but rain is coming soon, do you hurry and split or wait to let the bark keep the inside dry from the elements? I don't really take that into consideration. I try to buck it. When I've got the saw out and I've got a lot of logs laying on the ground, I will just buck and buck and buck and try to get everything stacked and staged for the splitter. I don't like to leave the rounds just laying in a mess all around the yard because I trip over them. You know, it's just hazardous, I feel like. And when you go to run the splitter and everything's right there, you can position the splitter in a way where you can just load them up and I feel like get through it a lot quicker. The rain around here, especially this time of year, it pops up and comes and goes. And when I have time to get it done, I just do it. I really don't make my schedule around any of that. But I think the bark might keep the inside dry from the elements. But once you have it split and you have it stacked, the rain, we can get into covering your firewood. And I've tried it both ways, and I have not seen a difference. I think covering your firewood is good if it's wood you're getting ready to use right away. If you got your wood stacked outside and it's already ready to burn, and you're going to be bringing it inside to use like within the next day or week or so, I think you should cover it. But if it's just sitting out in the yard seasoning and it's not ready to burn and it's not going to be sold anytime soon, I don't really think you need to cover it because I've tried it. Like I said, I've tried it both ways and I have not seen a difference. All right, there's a super chat. I almost went right by it from Iron and Oak Sawmill, and he says to overtime and some progress on the conveyor. Thank you, Chuck. I do need to get to the conveyor. I really do. I keep looking over at that project and thinking to myself where to even begin. Part of me thinks I should get the motor on it and get the pulleys set up with the belt to actually use it before I try to make it pretty, to make sure it's going to work for what I need it to do. So I think that's probably going to be the route that I go. I'm going to, try to get it running first to see what else it needs. But thank you for that, Chuck. Cheers. A lot of people interested in the solar stuff. So I'd be curious to see some of that. I might even look that up. Chuck says, you remember that massive pile of red oak rounds from our wood yard? It's gone, split, stacked, and drying. That's awesome. That was some nice looking big oak you had there, Chuck. I did run Shives 500i through a few of those logs. So a few of those rounds that were out there out front, they were cut by yours truly. But that was a lot of wood laying there. So I don't know how many cords you ended up with out of that, but I guarantee it was a couple cord. So that's cool. All right. So we were talking about chains earlier in the longer bars, and I forgot to mention skip tooth chain. Somebody commented on a video the other day, have I ever tried a skip tooth chain? And I have not. All the chains that I use are full comps. And I don't know if a skip tooth chain is faster or what, but kind of curious to maybe give that a try on a 32-inch bar. Does anybody have any knowledge of the skip tooth chains and how good they are, or any pros or cons, positive or negative experiences you've had with skip tooth chains? I'd be curious to hear that as well. So we mentioned the East Coast Firewood Frenzy earlier. Shibe has talked to the mayor of Tower City, up there where he lives, and mentioned the idea to him. He's got to bring it before the board, I guess at the city council or whatever they have up there. And hopefully if he's on board with that, we might be able to move on to the next step. I do have an option for a venue here in Maryland at the local fire department that I'm a member of. Has a good bit of space, and I'm sure we could use that. I'm sure it would be a little bit of a cost to rent that space, but it's got a huge parking lot, a pavilion, and a field to where we would have plenty of room to do whatever we needed to do. So if Shibe's idea falls through, we do have a backup, but we kind of want to get that set up for maybe sometime in the spring. So that's the latest on the East Coast Firewood Frenzy. Peyton's Firewood, what rounds of firewood have you found to be the heaviest to lift? I would say red oak. I would say red oak's right up there. Locust is pretty heavy as well. But oak and locust are definitely dense, heavy woods, which is why they take the longest to dry. Skip versus full comp, not a big fan of difference in speed. He doesn't think there's much of a difference. And Saul Surgeon says full skip will give you fits with your 2-in-1 file. All right. Well, based on those two comments right there, I think that I'm not even interested. But here we go. Here's the other end. Skip tooth chains are awesome. For more details, check out YouTuber Guilty of Treason. So he must use skip tooth chains. And here's a question from Arthur Elks. There's a man in Fredericksburg, Virginia, has a 40-foot hay bale conveyor for sale on Facebook Marketplace and wants $500 for it. 40 foot is pretty long. The one I got is 24 or 25 foot, and I feel like that's probably about right for what I want to do with it, loading the dump trailer. A 40 foot, $500, if it's running, that's a pretty good price. So if anybody's in the market for a conveyor and 40 foot is in your wheelhouse, look on Fredericksburg, Virginia on Facebook Marketplace, and that might be an option for you. Hickory's a beast to lift. Yep, Chuck's right. Andy says honey locust. So I'm not sure honey locust compared to black locust. I really don't deal with much honey locust. Honey locust is the one that has a bunch of those big thorns on it, I'm pretty sure. But we've got the locust that I get is black locust. Skip tooth on the longer bars are beneficial. 24-inch on a 362 is nice. Takes less power to pull, so RPMs are higher. That's kind of what I thought. You're not digging as much with as many teeth, so the RPMs don't get bogged down. And look at this right there. There's B&D Sports. I don't know if that's Brady or Dom jumping in here on the chat right in van, but that's their YouTube channel. And I appreciate you all that we're able to give them a little bump tonight. I'm sure they're very thankful as well. Shibe says more firewood bowling is coming up next week. So he's going to be back on the roadside doing more roadside logging. So check him out. That's always fun to watch him try to keep logs from rolling down the hill and running into traffic. Ben says skip chains are great, even if you are running a long bar for your saw. Helps keep the RPMs up top. And I'm not sure if the 500i has any problem keeping RPMs up. I haven't ran into it yet anyway. Rolando got a free huge ash score today. Congratulations to you, Rolando. Always good to get some free ash. It dries quickly, and it's good burning wood. Bill just looked at a 16-foot conveyor this evening, and he thinks that's a good size. Yeah, I think 16 to 25 foot, I think, is really good. Oh, so the one that's for sale in Fredericksburg says there's a brand new electric motor on it. It needs tires, but didn't say what volt the motor is. So that's a good lead if anybody's in the market. Brandon Hood says that Beach is heavy. Beach is a little heavy. I wouldn't think it's quite as heavy as oak, but I really, really like Beach Firewood. It's normally pretty straight, splits really nice, and burns really, really good too. Wow, Tim Stout just said B&D Sports is up to 84 subscribers. You all are crazy. Oh man, from a Firewood community to help out a couple boys with their sports channel, that's pretty cool. Colleen, you got a question from up there in Saskatchewan. Did you catch my unboxing video of the hat I won from your channel? Thank you, and it's a mighty fine cap. Colleen, I apologize. I did not see that, but I will definitely look it up. That's pretty cool. I'm glad you got it, and I'm glad you like it. I will definitely check that out, Colleen. Like I said earlier, I try to keep up with everybody in this community, but there's so many of us. It's tough. So we are way into overtime, and I have a question for everybody before we get to the giveaway. Next month's live stream is going to fall on Thanksgiving. The last Thursday of the month in November is obviously Thanksgiving. So I need to kind of take a little quick survey from here, everybody. And if you want to do the live stream at 8 p.m. on Thanksgiving, type the number 1. If you'd rather me do it a week earlier so that it's not on Thanksgiving, type the number 2. There's 107 of us in here right now, so I will basically take the results of this little poll that I'm doing right now to decide when I'm going to do the live stream. I didn't know if anybody would have issues doing it on Thanksgiving. I don't have an issue with it. We normally eat Thanksgiving dinner pretty early. So I will go based off of your comments. And I will have to check out all the answers here after the live stream's over, because I'm not going to be able to count or keep up with it right now. But I'll let you know the results of that and give you plenty of notification before we schedule it and do it. I did get a new batch of stickers in. I gave all my stickers that I had away at the Paul Bunyan show, but I have both of my stickers, brand new batches of them in. So if anybody's interested in a sticker, I do send them out for free to the people who support the channel and jump on the live stream. So all you got to do is send me an email, firewood@thefurnace@gmail.com. Send me an email and let me know that you watched the Thirsty Thursday live stream and you're interested in a couple of stickers. Give me your mailing address and I will send them out to you, because I'm just thankful for all of you that jump on here with me and help make this channel so cool. So I think that's it. It looks like I've covered everything I need to do. We are well into overtime, so we will get to the giveaway question. And tonight's giveaway question for the whiskey glass or the beer mug is, on the video a few weeks ago when I showed you how I was making the Woodruff Woods engraved black walnut sign, I told you about the router that I use and which one I like the best. So somebody tell me what brand of router that I was using and which one I like the best. While we're waiting on the results of that, Michael D's in here with a super chat. Iron and Oak is cheating. He voted 200 times. Well, I will take that into consideration, Michael, and I will make sure that I only count his vote one time. Thank you, Michael D, for the super chat. I definitely appreciate that. And let's get back over here to the chat to see who the first comment is with the correct answer. And it is Outside with Shibe Ryobi. I'm pretty sure that was the first correct answer. Yes, it is. All right, Shive, I will be set. What do you want? I'm pretty sure you want a beer mug because you're not allowed to have dark liquor. So just confirm that in there that you want a beer mug. If you want a whiskey glass, I will send that to you, of course, as well. But just throw that in there. Old Guy Firewood said he won, but autocorrect screwed him. Autocorrect has gotten me quite a few times as well. Shive wants the beer mug. I hope he can use it on his live streams as well. He normally just pops the can and drinks it right out of the can, but you can put that beer mug in the freezer before you go live, Shad, and you'll have a nice frosty mug. So I will get that in the mail to you again. All right, I think we're going to wrap it up. I want to thank everyone for the great live stream tonight. I hope you all had a great time. It was nice to see everybody here again since the Paul Bunyan show and to chat with some familiar faces now. I want to thank everyone who sent super chats. I want to thank the moderators for being here. And I want to thank you all for, once again, making this a great time. Have a great week, everybody. Have a great weekend coming up. I hope everybody has a good Halloween. And let me put this on one more time before we get on out of here. This is for, I don't even know, is Dan still even here? I haven't seen him do the chat in a while, but a lot of times he's a little tricky. But I'm putting this back on for Dan before we run out of here. And like I said, thanks to everybody for being here. There's still 150 people here into the live stream. And I will go through the comments to see if we're going to be doing the next month's live stream either on Thanksgiving or the week before, and let everybody know on an upcoming video, and you'll see it as well on the placeholder before we do it. So have a great night, everybody, and we will see you next time.